Okay, out of principle, we're going to put the Twins in timeout for at least the first 5 minutes of
Yes,
this Reusse
yes,
Unchained
yes.
here, presented by
Let's
Josh Arnold.
let's do that. What the hell?
We'll
I
just
mean,
we'll
we
we'll
beat
get to
them up.
them, but
We
yeah.
beat them up all day yesterday, and then they came through for us and lost another one. So let's not. Yeah. We don't have to do that again. We do. We do. We.
Yes,
Yes.
we will, but just in like 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
What is your? So we got this is a big football weekend here in the
Yes.
Twin Cities. So let's start Vikings and Texans. Do you feel like this is the reality check weekend for the Vikings, or the crowning of a new Super Bowl contender?
Well, it's. I think it's that game that okay. We got everybody's out over their skis and really happy and couldn't be more delighted. And now a pretty good team's coming in, although C.J. Stroud hasn't been as fantastic this year as he was last year so far, anyway. But yeah, this is you know what? 2 minutes to go. This will be a close game. I think this will be a close game because I think Houston will do a better job of handling Flores' defense than has been done so far. But I do like the Vikings to win. It's a home game, and they're certainly reversing the. Was it 2 years ago? Was it they were? Or what year were they? Was it last year that they won like two home games or three home games or
Yeah,
something?
they
Right?
had back
Yeah, it
at
was
And
home
bad.
last
It
year.
was bad.
yeah, they're going to use that as an advantage once again, and people are fired up. And Houston's it's Hunter's coming back to town, and we'll see how they block him. How's he done so far? I haven't checked. Has he done anything for them? Uh, do we know?
I thought he had a
He,
sack in the opener,
Sack or
Here,
so, something.
but
He's
I'm not.
not
let's
dominating.
verify. Let's
But I have not
verify.
been
He wouldn't be. I know one thing. He
all
wouldn't
in.
beat out Van Ginkel.
He's Phil's
he'd
guy.
be he'd be playing behind Van Ginkel. I know that. So, yeah, I
So
think it'll be.
according to our guys at Pro Football Focus, well, they classify sacks a little differently, but he had in the Chicago game week 2, he had 7 pressures and 2 sacks in that game. So
That's a
he has
pretty good game.
9 pressures, 2 sacks, and 7 quarterback hurries so far this
I,
year.
I suppose they're getting their money's worth then so far, right? So he's healthy. And what are they paying him? 25 or something like that? 24, 25, right?
It's a nice
Yeah,
contract.
yeah.
He's trying to make up for the severely under market contract he signed before the injuries with the Vikings like 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's right. It looked like he gave them a big bargain, but then he didn't play half the time for about 3 years, right? So,
Well,
and
and
it
plus he
didn't
did.
turn out that. Huh?
I said plus he signed that second contract early, which was stupid. So
Yeah.
he did give them that. That's why for like 2 years consecutively, there also was he's not going to play unless they redo his contract. So like I think this time he just got it up front. But here's what I love about this, Pat. This might be one of the sweetest spots for people that do what we do and fans to be in. It's we have a quarterback who was previously awful, who might be good, and we get to find out every week, right? So like the Darnold thing is going to play itself out and play itself out, and I think that is going to be really really fun to watch potentially if he continues on this track.
Well, yes, and but I still say you take a guy you high and you start playing him, and you're not very good. The guys that get drafted high end up going to lousy teams, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
they David Carr is the example I always use. Everybody thought he was going to be a pretty good player. By year 4, he was waking up in the middle of the night screaming in fear of he was like a Vietnam survivor as far as the horror that he faced being back there. He got sacked 50 some times one year, and Darnold faced some of that. He was on a lousy team, and he's much better. When you see him now, you see why he got drafted that high. He's an athlete. He can if he makes good decisions, he's fine because his big problem was always turnovers. His turnovers were incredibly high, and that's if he avoids those, what the hell, he's going to be fine. But the to me, the revelation so far has been the defense. That they've been so good so far, and and they got numbers. They got 18 guys that can play, which is
It's
the way
huge.
what you need because the two guys are going to get hurt here eventually, that are playing now that are, some guys are going to be laying on the carpet after, some week you're going to lose one or two guys, but they got numbers now, and that's what surprises me the most. But it's the NFL is, that we've said it 100 times. The secret of the NFL is, the difference between the good teams and the bad teams isn't that huge. I mean, you can have really 4 or 5 bad teams, but outside of that, if you don't show up someday, you can get beat. You can be bad. What was the game? Was it 2 years ago? They're having the good year, and all of a sudden they got beat 30-0 by somebody, or was that 3 years ago? When remember that some mediocre team came in here and just beat them bloody,
That
and
happened about once a year for a
yeah,
run there. There
yeah,
was
it
the
was like 30-0 or something. I can't
Like more of a
remember when
Zim
that game
thing.
was. That
Falcons
might have
game
been
in
a
2020.
that might have been it. Yeah,
They were
because
both 0
Falcons were.
4, and Kirk threw like 4 picks in one quarter.
They were both 0-4 then. Okay, well, anyway, boy, I got the Kirk defenders all fired up though, man. You can see that they still contact you by email, and I think they go to
oh yeah.
church regular. I think they go to church regularly. I got one email from a guy who's like 80, and he said. That column was beneath you. And I said, well, no, it's not. I wrote it. So it's not beneath me. I
It's
mean,
nothing.
if it was
Nothing that's
beneath,
in print is
You wouldn't
beneath
have
you.
no,
You
written
put it
about
no,
it.
out
it's
Yeah.
not.
there.
If I write it, it's not beneath me. For God's sakes, it's that's I didn't think it was that much of a hatchet job, but boy, the Kirky crowd was out, and they were very upset.
I'm
They
going to
wanted
tease
him.
something for Purple Daily today that we got a scathing email, personal attacks to me and Judd that I will read
Oh,
on
really?
Feedback Friday today on Purple Daily. Yeah,
Are they
some deep cuts.
pro on various issues or pro Cousins stuff?
Well, I think the fourth quarter comeback, like the game-winning drive or
Oh yeah.
whatever it was.
After he did nothing all day, he was down on the 5 yard line, and he or down on the 1 yard line. They kicked a field goal, right?
Yeah.
Once the old thing, but yeah. But the fourth quarter drive made him a hero, and it probably would have been a better idea if they chose not to leave wide receivers, if they chose not to A, pressure him, and B, leave wide receivers wide open in the middle of the field 25 yards on 2 consecutive plays. That was a bad idea, I think.
Yeah.
But Kirk can take advantage of that. Yes, he
Hey,
can.
are you gonna stand up wherever you're watching on Sunday and boo Stefon Diggs when he steps foot, or are you gonna celebrate and appreciate Stefon Diggs for?
Why are we mad at Stefan?
I mean, well, Judd was stumping for him to be booed by
For how
70,000
because he
fans
became a
here.
pain in the ass. Typical receiver malcontent, unlike Justin Jefferson, who's not.
Yes, but Stefan wasn't at this point of his career either. And, if we'll see. Justin's got his money, so what's he care? But Stefan was, I, 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 I didn't know we had any reason to be mad at him, except he wanted out of here because he didn't like Kirk.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't,
petulant.
I can't get down on anybody who didn't like Kirk. Okay, I'm not.
You're about to get more
Was it Kirk?
emails.
I thought it was more like a Zimmer
It wasn't
offensive
Kirk,
system.
Yeah. I think he was fine with
Zimmer.
Kirk.
Yeah,
Well,
he didn't like the system,
Well, that's
but he always gets unhappy.
Runner.
That's his thing.
Yes, it is.
Buffalo.
I mean,
I'm
you're right.
happy
He
now.
got well. Let's face it. He wasn't in paradise there, even though he had a great first 2, 3 seasons with Josh Allen. Everything was fine. But you still wake up in the morning and you're in Buffalo and it's 32 degrees below zero and you got to play on Sunday. It's not paradise.
He
That's
And it's
demanded the
people say
trade,
about
man. He couldn't say where he went to. That was the genius of the trade.
yeah. Well, that's true. That is true. But yeah, what is he now? 32, maybe 33.
he's getting. I don't know if he's getting close to the wide receiver age cliff that guys
Is,
get.
is he a Hall of Famer?
Boy,
Probably not.
No.
There's
Why
he's
so
30.
many-
No.
He's going to be 31 by the way later
Probably
this season.
because
He's
there's so many wide receivers that
Yes.
there's great wide receivers that don't even get a mention. But he's the numbers got to be pretty astounding historically, don't they? But one other thing people forget here is I'm getting all these notes about Cousins had, you know, more he's more completions per season than Tarkin. Well, half the time they were playing 14 game seasons, and then somebody was comparing him to Johnny Unitas. Johnny Unitas, his first 6 years, they had 12 game seasons, you morons. Plus, it was not a complete passing league like it became. So it's like, baseball is about the only sport, and it has improved. It has increased by 8 games, the schedule, but nobody takes into account that you're playing many more games now than you did in these other sports
Pat,
historically.
You're 2 years too late to the party. We were there 2 years ago, getting the same exact notes.
3 years ago,
whatever it was.
5 years ago.
We showed up at this party long ago. You're late. These people have been there forever.
I love it. Pat wakes up and he's like, that damn Kirk Cousins.
The greatest thing
is that beneath me? No.
The greatest thing that ever happened to Kirk's popularity, though, was the COVID. The fact that he was a non-vaxxer. Well, the Netflix after that, but the
people
fact
love that
suddenly he was a non-vaxxer and he became beloved by a certain
Well, I will say he
did
much like he did dip into the political Venn diagram,
Yes.
but I know people always accuse if you don't like Kirk, it must be political. I can't. We on Purple Daily for 5 years, we haven't talked a lick of politics. It is like my beef with Kirk has purely been football and contract related the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So
my big beef with him was field goals. Okay, getting inside the 10 and kicking field goals, and that didn't happen in the 13-4 season. They finished drives and won games, and they did win all those one-score games. And then when push came to shove, he got outpaid but played by Daniel Jones. So that's that. So anyway, I don't know how I got on my Kirk tangent here, but
No,
I did. But anyway,
like I said,
but this, what this Vikings start proves, and the season might prove, you don't know. The NFL, you don't know. You think that, we set the over and under for teams based on what they did last year. Were all these experts setting the over and under at 6.5, 7, looking at what they did with their roster? Was anybody looking at that? I mean, obviously the defense was going to be way better. They lost Daniel Hunter, so people lowered their projected win total. And it was stupid. It was not, it was obvious that they had some money that they were going to be better.
Pat, they looked at one thing.
I'm
quarterback.
Not saying, what?
They looked at one thing. Quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what they look at.
Yeah, I guess so. But, the idea that the 6.5, what? Based on what? Yeah. Nothing. You said Darnold was, okay. They're still down on Darnold, who, I don't know. How about, the Darnold equivalent is Baker Mayfield. He, winning games with that collection, for God's sakes. It's, he's become there's a competent quarterback there that was buried and everybody gave up on him. So, some of those guys, they're declared failures too quickly. Some of these players.
Well, Baker had to pass through Carolina. Darnold passed through Carolina. There's hope for Bryce Young, looking at the trail of broken young quarterbacks in Carolina.
Yeah, well, but that is hey, the thing is, to get cheap quarterbacks, you got to overdraft quarterbacks, and then you got to play them right away to take advantage of it. And it's stupid. It never occurred previously in the NFL. These guys Dante Culpepper played one play as a rookie, right? One play as a rookie. He would have been a train wreck if they played him that first year, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. But now they make him play. By the way, speaking of guys who waited to play, Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good last night, didn't he?
He did. He looked much more mobile than he did the first 2 weeks. 40 years old. He's scooting out on the edge and making off balance throws. He did.
And
He looked really good last night.
and by the way, Tyler Conklin, we didn't need him. Who was the mutt that they kept instead of him? The
No,
Smith
he got
or-
mad. His dad got mad at Zimmer, so he left. He
But
He was
tried
a
to,
free. He was a free agent,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
He-
and
okay.
his dad like went on the record and ripped Zim when Conklin left. So that was not
Well,
a
Didn't
Spielman
Rhett
special.
Ellison's dad do that one time too? I
Yes.
feel like we have a lot of tight end hybrid dads that
we
are.
didn't. But Conklin was a blocker, right? Al
Yeah.
Michaels had a rather giant screw up last night. He said
Yeah.
he only made 6 catches last year. A minute later, somebody talks in his ear and he says, "Al, it was 61."
Oh no.
Those
That's,
guys are, man. Even Kirk. I feel like Kirk Herbstreit when I
He's-
listen to
I
him call
can't
the
stand
Thursday
him.
game.
I can't
It's
stand him.
it's like his
I-
7th
here's-
priority during the week,
Yeah.
and you can tell it's not
Here's
good.
what I'm thinking though. You do not have to analyze every bleeping play. We don't need a breakdown of every play. Al can tell you what happened and then you can go on to the next play. If it doesn't, we don't need to break down every damn play. Shut up for 2 seconds, for God's sake.
Pat, did you watch any
Drives
of
me
the
crazy.
Did you watch any of the Guardians broadcasts over these 4 games on your means to watch baseball games? Because they do that. They will go 40. The TV crew, the Guardians will
Break down every
legitimately
pitch.
go 45 seconds without saying a word.
Wow.
They won't say a word for 45 seconds. It's bizarre.
Well, that is bizarre to say the least. That a little bit of silence is appreciated, especially when you listen to the Twins telecast in certain situations.
Yeah. So hey,
And
so
by the
speaking
way,
of fun,
Perky, who was good, he now has to analyze every pitch too. Come on, Perky, take a Valium. Let's go. We don't need to analyze every
take a
pitch.
Valium.
You're not as bad as Morty. Let's say nobody will ever be bad as Morty because he's still talking about the last pitch 10 minutes later when we're doing the other thing. And he asked to analyze. We don't have to analyze every moment of a game. When they're routine moments, just say, how's the wife or something. We don't have to analyze every damn pitch.
It's great. A lot
And
of strays.
every
Hey,
play.
hold on. Before we get into we're gonna give you 3 minutes to rip the Twins after you praise Valley Auto Group. Okay, let's do that
Oh.
first, and then
All
we'll
right.
rip the Twins for a little bit to end the episode.
Looks like another wonderful, fine blue sky weekend. The last 3 weeks
Beautiful.
have been fantastic ever since that Thursday before Labor Day storm. It's been beautiful. It's been a great time to go out to Hastings or Apple Valley and visit the veteran salespeople at Valley Auto Group in both places. And we'll be telling you about some of those people who sell for them here in the upcoming days. But I've been dealing with them for a long time, and I've always been satisfied. Still get a lot of compliments when I'm muttering or puttering around in my convertible. It's we're up to 60 now. It's still driving like crazy, still going great. But Jim Paul and Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers, low interest rates. The factory rebates are back. They got 4 varieties of Buick SUVs out there. There's a new Buick station wagon out there. They got Yukons. They got big heavy duty Sierras trucks. Great deals can be made on all of these vehicles. Everything you need to take the kids to hockey practice all winter long. Endless practices, 10 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock in the morning. No, you know you have a reliable transportation with a big trunk to take them if you go to Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers, Apple Valley and Hastings. Check them out this weekend.
Amen. All right. Well, they're tied. Tiebreaker in
Yes.
hand, but they're tied. They did it, folks. They finally climbed down to the Tigers.
10
The Tigers are 25-10 over the last 35. So
they're
credit to them.
25-10. Twins are 10-20 since they reached their high mark of the season. And you were watching that game yesterday. I was kind of doing something else, but halfway I was watching it all the time. I had no doubt they were going to lose once they got into extra inning. Did you? Yeah, had no doubt they were going to get beat because, you know, we're blaming it all on relief pitching. They can't hit. Does that bother anybody that they can't hit either? As I said today, I wrote a piece about 84, but I took some cheap shots at the Twins. They only have 3 shortcomings right now: pitching, hitting, and fielding. Those are their only 3 shortcomings. Manny strikes again, and in the infield, they make Brooks Lee. You're optimistic, and all of a sudden he has a play to make 2 days ago, and he didn't make it. That slow. What's with them and hop choppers? Does anybody ever charge a chopper and pick it up and throw it to first base, unless it's Correa? I mean, they're terrible in the field. Not terrible, but they make bad. They don't make plays when they need to make plays, and the hitting is awful. They don't hit, and plus Cleveland's cheating. They keep bringing Class A in. They don't care if he pitched 7 days in a row. They keep bringing him in. We're trying to protect pitchers. We're very careful with our pitchers.
I love it. We got a week left, and we're like, oh, we got to protect these guys. No,
we think about their futures. We think about they don't. Cleveland, they're poor old Class A. The poor guy's going to end up with 52 saves, for goodness sakes. You know what? You watch it and you see going in, and you don't figure out how they're good, but they're pretty good. Cleveland, they're just, they got athletes. They're aggressive. They make the plays. And somehow they get in a situation where you got to pitch to Ramirez when you really don't want to. And it's, it's just a mismatch. What's the final season total? 10-3? They beat them 10 out of 13,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Right?
I think
10 out of
4 were
13.
walk-offs.
Yeah. And they're having a good time in Cleveland. It's not like when we finished there in 84, which I wrote about today, and there were 600 people in Municipal Stadium, which held 80. They were only drawing 16 or 17, but they were enthused. And now they go to, can they cure the Red Sox? The people are so down on the Red Sox, they're just killing them. Did you see who's the guy, the gene Breslow? Did you see Breslow's quote the other day? Did you on Twitter? Shaughnessy tweeted it. You got to find it. I wish I had it in front of me, but it's like 2 sentences of gobbledygook, new age crap, and Shaughnessy went nuts with it. What the quote was, I can't remember. It's just 2 sentences of, I went to the Ivy League, so I'm so much smarter than you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Meanwhile, they're Boston and St. Louis, the 2 best baseball cities in America. Red Sox fans are pissed, and they're not going to the games. And St. Louis's attendance plummeted this year in August. You know what I saw though? Did I see a quote? It was the first time they'd announced a crowd under 30,000 in St. Louis in like the middle of August in this version of Busch Stadium.
Boy,
And
maybe
then,
they're not the best fans in baseball anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe.
yeah, all
too
right.
bad.
Well, they're mad
the-
because 2 years in a row they've been mediocre as hell. So
I think the White Sox fans that are still showing up are the best fans in baseball. That's my new vote.
that
The
was
750 people that are still going to that stadium, those are the best fans in baseball.
I watched them Wednesday. They didn't play yesterday. I watched them Wednesday when they had to go 13 innings. They kept hanging in there. They wouldn't score in the top of the inning, and then they'd hold the other team scoreless. And they finally lost in the 13th for number 117. And it was and Schifrin was not. He was very sad that this chance that would have been a series victory. They would have won 2 out of 3. But
Maybe next year.
yeah. People
Amazing.
keep punishing the Twins. Oh, yeah, the only reason they got a good record is they were 12-1 against the White Sox. Well, that's okay. What if you were 8-5 against the White Sox?
Yeah.
Then you'd be giving them nothing but crap. What's wrong with being 12?
Yeah, I'm mad they weren't 13-0. Quite frankly, I think they deserve to be ripped.
By the way, one thing. Today I tweeted, Shohei Ohtani. I always said that the Twins should have signed Shohei Ohtani, I said, and then cheap pull ads. And idiots went for the bait. Somebody says, somebody said, we were in the first three when he came over here. Are you crazy? That he was in the, he said, yeah, I'm going to North America and I'm either going to play in LA, New York, or Minnesota. Are you people idiots?
It was very, very difficult decision. Yes, he was.
Yes. Anyway. All right. Nice game by Shohei, by the way.
Yeah,
10
just
Not
6
bad.
for 6 with 3
6 for
bombs, 10
3
RBIs,
bombs and 10
and the
RBIs.
50-50. Yeah.
I know RBIs are really an overrated stat. But when you get 10 of them, that's a pretty good day, I'd say.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty. We can give a big plus sign to getting 10. Okay, so RBIs don't count, but in this
take
case, 10. Okay.
We'll take the 10 yesterday. Yeah. Yeah.
Vikings, yes. Vikings win, beat Texans 3-0. Gophers
Okay.
beat Iowa. Every optimism.
Wow.
Iowa's defense isn't as good, and their offense still stinks. So I would think that it should be about a 12-10 thriller, I would think. The kicker will make up for his blowing the North Carolina game. So
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, wow. Positive Pat on a Friday here.
yes. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
See you, Pat. Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold here on Score North.